Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 77 of Shattered Image, and this one is titled Proviso. Sero watched as you and Aizawa entered back into the courtroom, and then you both walked over to him. You stopped with him, but Aizawa moved on a bit, letting you talk in private for a sec. You'll never guess what happened, you whispered to Sero, looking up as you watched the other lawyer and the guy that he was with get called out of the room to go and talk with the CIA agent and your lawyer. What? Sero asked. I'll have to tell you later, but I've gotten you involved, you said slowly with a smirk. It's going to be you and me. I don't know if I'm really excited about that though, he said with a worried look on his face. While you were whispering, your parents came back over to you and your dad asked if everything was okay. He and your mum had seen you leave with Aizawa and were worried that something had happened, but you assured them that everything was okay and that you'd explain in time. The recess that was supposed to only go for 10 minutes continued on, going for 20 minutes, then 30 minutes, and you fidgeted nervously, wondering if everything was going to plan. What if the other lawyer and guy didn't agree to the terms and conditions and still wanted this trial to continue? What would happen then? Was there a higher chance of them winning the case and you'd have a harsher sentence doled out to you? Your nervousness gave way to anxiety and you crossed your arms across your chest and scowled. Finally, your lawyer and the other lawyer came into the room from out in the hall and she walked over to you with a smile on her face. Everything has been sorted, Yin. You and your friend are to work with the CIA agent with one more provision and they will cover everything else, she said. One more provision? What does that mean? Is there something else? You asked nervously, but with aggression in your tone. Yes, one other thing that the other lawyer asked for you to do before he agrees to the terms and conditions of your release. But we will talk to them again afterwards. So just wait until the judge closes the case and then we'll settle it with the other party, your lawyer said. As soon as she finished speaking, the assistant in the courtroom called for everyone to stand as the judge entered the room, and everyone did so. And then they sat again after the judge sat, and he raised his hand for everyone to sit as well. This case has now been closed, the judge said as he raised his gavel and then smacked it down to the pad in front of him. Both parties have agreed to a private settlement and will sign the necessary documents in the side room, he said. Members of the jury are to hand papers back to the lawyers and then this case will conclude. Thank you, he said, rapping his gavel on the pad once more before standing up to leave. Those in the court slowly got up and started leaving, mumbling things amongst themselves as they exited, and your parents sat there relieved. Both your mum and your dad happy but confused as to what had happened for the complainant to suddenly change his mind. Your lawyer stood up and then turned to you. If you'll come with me, Yin, she said. Would you like Mr. Eraserhead to come with you or your parents? She asked. Eraserhead, you said. He knows what to say, you said, and then he stood up as well to come with you. We will be signing the necessary documents and will outline the other stipulation the opposing lawyer has asked for, she said as she walked with you and Aizawa back out into the hall. If you agree, we can proceed, she said, walking with you the rest of the way down the hall to the room where the others were. You stepped in with her and glanced at the opposing lawyer and the guy beside him, and then at the CIA agent as you, Aizawa, and your lawyer sat down on the other side of the table and looked across. Obviously, the paperwork is yet to come, Mr. Miyagi commented, but let's go over the proposal. You just looked at him. You didn't understand what was going on really, but you assumed your lawyer understood, and so you just took your cues from her. Damages to the opposition will be paid in full by the CIA agent for the release of Miss Yinlin into their care, Mr. Miyagi said, with the stipulation that she be assessed for anger management and be medicated accordingly. He added, Wait, what? You asked. Miss Yinlin is a danger to society, the opposing lawyer stated, refusing to make eye contact with you. She needs to be on medication, irrespective of if she is in the care of the CIA or not. Excuse me, you said loudly. Still, he refused to look at you. Look at me when I talk, you demanded of him. I'll not be looking at you in the eye, Miss Lin. I am acquainted with how your quirk works, he said. Listen here, you little... You started with a growl, but Aizawa cut in. An unfair statement, made by someone supposed to be well versed in dealing with all different people, he said sternly, directing his comment at the other lawyer. Do excuse us a moment, your lawyer said, gently placing a hand on your shoulder and then turning and nodding to Aizawa. Let's have a talk for a second, she added to him. She managed to get you to cooperate and you all stepped out of the room for a second to talk about what had been said. There is no way I'm going to go on some medication because that lawyer thinks I'm dangerous. I might be to him, you seethed, still enraged at his comment. This is part of the proviso, Aizawa said with an unfortunate sigh. If you don't agree to this, the whole deal is off. You scowled deeply and crossed your arms across your chest. Think rationally about this, he cautioned. You glared at him and then at your lawyer and then looked down at the ground and closed your eyes. If I don't do this, this could be the end of me. You thought, I could end up in jail and be away from Sero. You then saw a flash in your mind of your mum crying and the scowl on your face softened. Okay, fine, you said stiffly. I just have to get assessed for it, right? If they say I don't need medication, then I don't need it, right? Correct. He nodded. Okay, tell them it's fine, you huffed. I bet I won't need it anyway, that arsehole. Both Aizawa and your lawyer let out a soft sigh of relief. For a second there they were worried that it was all going to fall apart before their very eyes. With you now on board, they took you back into the room to agree to the terms and conditions, and after another 20 minutes it was all set and agreed upon, and you, your lawyer and Aizawa were let go. At the end of the discussion, you were all heading out of the room and down the hall, and Mr. Miyagi called out to you. Miss Yin, he said, would you like to go and get your parents as well as your friend? I would like to give you a first debrief on what would be expected of you for this mission. Already? You asked. Yes, we would be expecting you to join the mission very soon since it starts tonight, he said. Wait, tonight? You said with surprise. You're cutting this all a little too fine, aren't you? Perhaps, he said with a smirk. Or I knew the perfect person was going to come along sooner rather than later. You were just guessing. I know you're bluffing, you said, narrowing your eyes at him. He grinned. You're perceptive, he said again, second time he had called you that in this court case, and you smirked back. Okay, I'll go and get them. Where are we meeting? You asked him. He pointed out which room, and then you turned to Aizawa. I'll go and get Sero and my parents, you said to him. Very well, I'll see our lawyer off now, he said, turning to the lawyer. You've done very well today, he said to her, adding more as he dismissed her, but you had already left to go and get the others and ran into the main courtroom with a giant grin on your face that only grew as you approached Sero and your parents in the empty room. Hey, you said as you walked up to them, there's a guy here who wants to talk to all of you, and me, and Aizawa, in a spare room here, you said. It's about a mission that Sero and I are going to be doing, you said, speaking to your parents now. It's with the CIA. The CIA? They both said in unison. Yes, indeed, the CIA. We'll see what happens. Next chapter coming tomorrow. See you then.